Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Cassie. I'm a pre and postnatal yoga teacher and exercise specialist. And today I'm going to guide you through a yoga class to reconnect and strengthen your core postpartum. This class is safe for diastasis recti or abdominal separation, as well as if you've had a C-section or a vaginal delivery. However, as always, please make sure that you speak with your doctor and you are cleared for exercise. We are going to be using 2 yoga blocks and a yoga blanket for class today. If you don't have a yoga blanket, you can also just use like a bath towel or a throw towel. And you can also use that in place of blocks. So if you don't have any blocks, just grab yourself a bath towel and that will work just fine. If you like today's class, please consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up. And when you are ready to get started, come and join me on your mat or on a soft surface. We're going to begin today in a child's pose with the toes together and then the knees as close together as it's comfortable for your body. Take your blanket then on your lap. And I want you, rather than lengthening your spine forward, to think of rounding your back over the blanket. You can adjust, of course, so that things feel good for you here. Maybe you need a little bit of more space for your boobs. And then you can take a block, 1 or 2, underneath your head. And take a moment to adjust. If you need to bring your knees a little wider to find comfort, that's totally fine. But keeping them closer than super wide will encourage your lower back as well as the back of your pelvis to open up, which tends to be really tight around this postpartum period. Bring your arms down to the mat. And then begin to slow down your breath. Take deeper inhales as you expand into your rib cage all the way around. Allow that breath to travel into the low back and the pelvis. And then exhale out of your mouth, softening and surrendering. Let's take a few more breaths like this. Inhale, expand. Send your breath into any tight spots, into the lower back, into the hips. And then following that with a full and complete exhale. And take a few more rounds of breath just like this, slowing down that inhale and exhale. And the benefit of having this blanket here, it gently compresses your belly so that you can open up more into your backside, which will allow you to better engage your abdominals. So when we start to work, you have more space to open the back so that the abs in the front can work. And take one last moment here to soften where you're holding tension, whether that be in the jaw, the fingers, the toes, shoulders. And then slowly lift your head up. We're going to place the blanket off to the side as you make your way to your hands and your knees. Let's take blocks under the hands if that's comfortable. If not, again, just bring your hands to the floor. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. And then begin to take some pelvic tilts. With your inhale, lift your tailbone up to the ceiling, broadening from sitting bone to sitting bone. And then as you exhale, curl the pelvis under, thinking of bringing your pubic bone towards your belly button, engaging through those lower abs. So keep that going. Breath in, lift your hips towards the ceiling. And exhale, curl them under by engaging the low abs, pubic bone towards your belly button. Let's take a few more rounds. You're welcome to add in the upper body. As you lift the hips, the chest can open. And then as you tilt the pelvis under, the chest can round, head drops. 2 more. Breath in, lift and open. Breath out, round the back. Last one. Open your hips. Think of widening sitting bone to sitting bone. Round the pelvis under, drawing the belly up and in, gathering the hip points together. And then come through center. Find a neutral spine, so somewhere between the tuck and the rounding. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, begin to reach your right arm forward, your left leg back, finding a bird dog balance. Flex through the leg, activate it, reach through the fingertips, and then inhale, come back through center. Exhale, left arm forward, right leg back. As we move side to side, your goal is to shift your body as little as possible. So trying to keep the torso still while the arms and legs move. Good, full inhales. Exhales, thinking of lifting and gathering the core from the pelvic floor, the low belly, all the way through the ribs, knitting together. And let's do one more each way. Long through the neck. So try not to dip the chest down as the arm and leg reach away. Hug those ribs together. And then come back through center. Let's take it one more time over to the right. Right arm forward, left leg back. And now staying on this side as you exhale, bring your hand and left thigh together and create some resistance. So push your hand and thigh together and then re-extend, breath in, just 3 of these. Exhale, hand and thigh push together, pull your abs up and in, re-extend. One more exhale, hand and thigh, create some resistance. And come through center. Good, if you need, roll out that left wrist. And then switch sides. Neutral spine, left arm forward, right leg back. As you exhale, stay on this side, hand and right thigh push together. Create resistance, pull the belly up and in. Re-extend, inhale. Exhale, hand and thigh together. One more, lengthen. You got it, exhale, working through the abdominals, hand and thigh. And then come through center. Tuck the toes under. Bring your elbows down to the blocks, giving your wrists a break and opening up through the lats, through the side body. Hands to prayer. Head can drop towards the ground. If it reaches, great. If not, no worries. And then thumbs can come towards the base of your neck or just wherever you land today. But again, opening up the sides, opening up your back allows your core canister, which is your entire torso, your belly, your sides, your back, your pelvic floor at the bottom, to all work together. And re-extend the arms. Take the hands back to the blocks. And now step your right foot in between your hands. Now, bring your hands to your hips, lift the chest up, creating a 90-90 position so your hip is above your knee. And then bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your low back to help lift the low belly as you drop the tailbone down. Squeeze the left glute to give your pelvis stability. And then from here, reach your left arm up towards the ceiling like somebody is lengthening you up. Bring your left hand to your shoulder blade. Grab onto your left elbow. Squeeze your inner thighs together as you take a little side bend over to the right. Try to keep your legs just as they are. And then come back through center. Extend your left arm back to the ceiling. Right hand comes to your low belly to help remind you to lift it up and in here. And then you're going to tuck your back toes under, and like there's a string attached to your head, push into your front foot and try to lift straight up. Good. And then slowly lower the knee back to your mat. Good. Again, trying to keep one line from your knee to your hip, ribs stacked over your pelvis. Push into your front foot as you exhale, lift straight up. Good. And lower back down. Last one here. Exhale, straight up. Try not to lean forward or back. Good. Core control. Slowly lower that back knee. Bring your hands down to your blocks. You can shift your back knee back a little bit as you straighten through your front leg, taking a stretch. If you have blocks, you can lift them higher. Flex your toes towards your face. It doesn't matter if that leg is straight or not. And then a moment to drape the chest over the leg. Just enjoying this stretch. And bend back into your front knee. Good. Come to all fours. Good. And then we'll switch to the other side. Left leg steps in between the blocks. Hands come to hips, lift your chest up. And find that pelvic positioning. One hand to your belly, one hand to your low back. Draw your tailbone down as you lift your pubic bone and low belly up. Good. Hips are level. Head and neck are long. And then this time the right arm reaches high. Grab on to your right elbow, so bend it. Woo, this side's so wobbly for me. And side bend over to the left. Try not to hike the hips or do anything funky. That's where the core stability comes in. Lean up and over. And then come back through center. Reach your right arm high, left hand to your low belly. Tuck your back toes. And again, I want you to think of coming straight up. Dig your front heel into the ground. Exhale up. And then inhale, try and slow and control back down. This is deceptively difficult. Exhale, low belly hugs in. You go straight up. And lower back down. Pushing into the front foot. Exhale, lift up. And then lower back down. Hands to your blocks. You can scoot your back leg back a bit. Straighten through the front leg. Option to flex the toes up. Surrender the chest and head. And then bend back into your front knee. Back to all fours. From here, take your block, or again, you can use your blanket between your inner thighs. You may find that it's comfortable on the skinny height or the middle height might feel better. And then let's give the wrists a break by coming onto the forearms. Tuck the toes under, shoulders over your elbows. Round the pelvis slightly under here to add the work more into the abs. As you exhale, squeeze into the block. And think of lifting that block up and into your body. Take another inhale, release some of the tension on the block. Exhale, squeeze into the block, lifting low belly, middle belly, upper belly. You can stay just like this. Or with your next exhale, push into the arms and use the lower abs to help you float the knees 2 inches off of the mat. Inhale, knees come back down, big expansion. Strong exhale out of the mouth, squeeze the block, hip points pull together and uplift the knees. And lower back down, last one. Really focus, you get out of it what you focus on. Squeeze, lift, round, like that block is sucking up and in through your belly. And lower back down. Good. Let's come on to our right hip. Keep the block between your inner thighs or the blanket, whatever you have. And we're gonna work towards side plank. Shoulder, again, is above your elbow. It may be very small today. As you exhale, you can take your other hand around your waist. I want you to push down and see if you can start to lift your hips up. If you're feeling this more in your back, check to see if that top hip has rolled back or you're arching, right? So you want to try and think of that same stack, just like we did when we lifted the knee, ribs over your pelvis, top hip above the bottom hip. So that's why I like to almost think of coming forward because naturally our weight wants to shift us back. Exhale, push down. Think of lifting. You should feel it in this lower right side. Up. And then lower back down. Good. Hand can come behind your head to support it. Keep the neck long. Let's try and do 2 more. Exhale, lift up. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift it up. Hold this last one. See if you can take little pulses with the hips for 3, for 2, for 1. And lower down, good. Take the block away, reach your right arm up and over. And then let's switch to the other hip. Block comes between your knees. That's to help get the inner thighs on board. Elbow under your shoulder. Top hip wants to roll back. Try and roll it forward. Push the top thigh down. As you exhale, lift away from the ground. Push through underneath the armpit. Focus on working this lower left side. And then drop it down. Again, hand can go behind your head. 3 more. Use that strong exhale. Good. Focus on bringing the hip points towards the ribs. Inhale down, slow and controlled. Exhale up. Last one, we're going to try and hold this one. And if that's not happening today, totally fine. Good. Wherever you're at, breathe for 3, for 2, and lower down. We're going to come onto our back. From roll to your side, then your back. You're going to take the block to the tops of your thighs. From here, legs can stay on the ground as we do this exercise. You'll be pushing your hands into the block, your thighs into the block, or see how it feels to take your legs to tabletop pose. This may feel really unsteady, so right here is totally fine. We're just gonna take an isometric hold, which means we're gonna stay still and breathe. Inhale into the lateral ribs. Exhale, push the hands into the block, the thighs back into the block. Thinking of drawing together with the hip points and then pulling that belly up. So feet are on the floor or lifted. Let's go for 2 more breaths. Good. 1 more. Release some of the work on the inhale. Exhale, hands and thighs, push into the block, strong center, pulling down, down, down with the belly. And if the legs are lifted, lower them back down. From here, take your right leg to tabletop. Block or just your hand goes to the inner thigh. Good. Just like we did when the block was on top of the thighs, create a little bit of resistance. Your goal as we move the leg out to the side is to not let the hips or the torso wobble. So inhale, leg is going to go out towards the side. And then exhale, push your thigh back into the block to bring it up. Inhale again, push the thigh out. The entire time, hand and thigh are pushing into the block, creating that resistance. Exhale through center. You can imagine that there is a boat sitting from one of your hip bones to the other hip bone, and you don't want that boat to rock, right? It wants to stay still as the legs and arms move. Exhale back through center. One more like this. Inhale, press away. Exhale down with the belly, so you're not pushing out, you're drawing down. Come through center. And then switch sides. Left leg comes to tabletop, lock to inner thigh. Good. Start with a little bit of that pressure. Heaviness through the low back, nothing changes except for that leg begins to go out as you inhale. And then exhale back through center. I'd rather you make this movement really small than let the hips get wobbly. Right? It's all about that focus. I know some of this slow work can be annoying, but it absolutely pays off in the long run. Push the thigh back into the block, hand into block to come through center. Good. Two more. Everything else stays quiet, stays as relaxed as you can. Exhale, push it in. Right, inner thighs connect to pelvic floor, connect to abdominals. They all work together. One more. Good. Exhale, press, create that resistance, hand and thigh, super slow through center. And release the leg. Let's take the block between the inner thighs at the skinniest height or the middle height. Arms by your sides, heels underneath your knees. Now push into your feet to lift your hips up. Again, I want you to imagine that boat sitting on your lower belly, and it's a very, very calm day. There's no waves. Stay up here, squeeze the glutes, hug into the block, lift through the low belly, and then lower the hips back down. Good. Exhale, squeeze into block, push down through the heels, lift through the hips. Good. And back down. And let's just go for about two more of these. Push up, really focus on evenly using your glutes, evenly hugging into the block. And back down. Inhale as the hips touch the mat. Exhale out of the mouth, squeezing block, lifting pelvic floor, low belly, middle belly, upper belly, everything draws together and up. Lower. Last one, we're going to hold it up. See if you can hold it up here. And then breathe deeply. Exhale. Big inhale, you expand. Exhale, you squeeze and flatten. Drawing up and in. One more. And lower the hips all the way down. Good work. Take your block. Bring it underneath your hips now. If you don't have the block, just don't do it with anything. And then give the hips a few moments to just settle. And take your hands to your belly. somewhere that feels calming. And let everything relax now. Honor this space that grew, that held your baby. Part of engaging our abdominal muscles, activating our core. A key portion of that is also knowing how to relax them. If we can't relax them, they also can't fully work. And so for right now, allow yourself to release all tension here. Let the belly get soft and squishy. Good. And thank this place. Maybe you even rub your hands on your belly, honoring this space, honoring the energy here. And then start to bring the knees in towards the chest. Let's take a happy baby pose. You can grab onto the ankles or the outside of the feet. And then rather than lifting the heels high and letting the hips lift, keep the hips heavy on the block. The heels pretty close to the pelvis. And then this will help you open up more through the posterior, the back side of the pelvic floor, which tends to get tight and then affects how our core works. And see if you can inhale down to the pelvic floor. Good. And if this feels too vulnerable with the knees open wide, you can also bring the knees closer or just take the feet back down. Exhale, let everything go. And bring your feet back to the floor. Lift your hips, remove the block. And roll onto your side. And come all the way up. And let's just finish in a seat. From here, bring a hand to your belly, a hand to your heart. Honoring this time that you dedicated to yourself and to your body. And take one last big breath in. Long breath out. And from my heart to yours, I thank you and namaste. Thank you for joining me for this postnatal yoga class focused on reconnecting and strengthening our core. If you enjoyed class, please consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up so that I can make more like it. Have a wonderful rest of your day.